Welcome to the 8.7.0 PTB dropped today by Behavior Interactive, featuring the new survivor Orella Rose, which I will be covering last just for the sake of framework for the video. Currently, I have no real complaints about this PTB if I'm being honest. Everything seems just tip-top shape, not anything really notable that I'm gonna say is like bad or negative or like actually impactful. So the main things, first of all, they had a Discord live stream leading into it where they answered some questions. Main things from that is that there are no changes to the ghoul. Ghoul has received no changes in this PTB. However, if we back out to the show it here, you can see that the fresh coffee add-on is actually purple and the umbrella one is now green. So they definitely did something with the add-on rarities, but I'm not sure if that's to reflect them actually on the main game, because currently it is like, there is a problem with actually getting the coffee cup, and most people assume it is because of that. You'll also notice some colors there were different, and I'll get into that in a moment. Otherwise, outside of like the new survivor coming out, the main things are like Doctor can no longer interrupt unhooks repeatedly with his shock. Clown can still do so with his bottles, but he has a limited amount. The problem is that this is a really big nerf to Doctor, who already struggles a lot in game. Howlmaster got a minor nerf to Snug's vault speed, that is the dog, and doubled the blood point reward for all deviousness scoring events, just because their BP game was a bit low. And the Oni is busted. They removed all turn rate limits, so now it is 0 effort 90-degree flicks. It is actually insane how fast you can flick as him, and I strongly encourage, if that does come to live, I strongly encourage trying him at least one time because it is awesome to look at. As for perks though, this is something that we do need to keep in mind. A lot of perks got buffed because haste and hindered no longer stack. It takes the biggest value from the perk, and that is what is reflected. And now also on the haste and hindered status effect icons, which will definitely be hard to see for console players or anyone on TV, it now shows the percentage that you're getting hindered or haste by, which solves a lot of I have 8k hours to know what this does, and it's going to be really, really easy to know if Clown has Flask of Bleach now. So because of that, some perks got changed. Dark 3 got buffed to 3%, it was 2%. It's still a boon though with a limited radius, so it's still kind of just run made for this. Breakout got buffed to 10%. Champion of Light got buffed to 70%. I know Pixelbut's gonna really enjoy that, which means if you combine that with Fixated, which is not haste related, I don't think. Never mind, it is. I was not aware that was a haste perk. Urban Evasion is also a haste perk now. Interesting. Everything else here makes sense. Urban Evasion and Fixate are haste perks. So they got rid of the Champion of Light Fixate combo with this change. Ooh no. That explains why I got buffed. Fixated was 20%, so they gave Champion of Light 20%. Oh, okay. That makes sense now. No One Left Behind also applies, increases the haste effect instead of applying it whenever you unhook someone in-game, which is also nice. As for Killer, Furtive Chase got buffed to 10% when after hooking the Obsession instead of 5%. Pentimento got a complete rework this update. When a totem is rekindled, there is a base 15% slower, and then it's plus 5% for each additional rekindled totem. So in total, it starts at 15. I am unaware if the first totem also applies to 5% for 20. If it does, then the total should be 40%. Otherwise, it is 35%, which is worse, much worse than current Penti, which is 50, I believe. And now survivors can also see the rekindled totem auras within 16 meters. So they kind of took Pentimento out back and shot it twice in the forehead. So don't ever expect anyone to run this perk again, because why would you? This is so bad. This is awful. You can probably still get some value on fast mobility killers who could quickly get totems up, but it's just, otherwise it's not going to be ran on people who it was actually like more beneficial on for like Trapper to majorly slow down the game and stuff. And then Unbound got its haste increase from 5% to 10%. That's the unknown vaulting perk, which isn't that good. Otherwise, there'll be some stuff on screen right now for it. The quest system got a complete overhaul. This was tome challenges. I can't show you where tomes would be right now because there is an archive error for everyone on the PTB, but you can still go back and equip old tome challenges one at a time, so you have stuff to do if you're a new player. If you're like me, you have them all completed already. Otherwise, there is now a new quest system. There is a dailies, You get 3 dailies that can be completed on both sides now. There's a milestone, step 1 of 10 for you to do on both sides that will slowly take more and more time to complete. And there is the Rift Pass with 5 weekly challenges every single week of the Rift instead of having like to wait 4 weeks in between each set of challenges, which I really, really like that change. As you can see, since it's the PTB, we're on week 10 for the Rift, and you can see that I have part of week 6 done, and I have part of week 3 done just based on what I already played, which was 1 match on Toba against a Billy that will be in the background of this video. You can see some are for Killer, some are for both sides. Pretty cool. I do want to do a slight touch-up on this, though. I would really enjoy it for the milestone quest if there were specific Survivor and Killer ones. I understand that would make this screen quite bloated with a major scroll wheel, but that's what the search icon is for. If there's a Huntress one, you can type in Huntress, and it will take you to the Huntress milestone quest. That's just for stuff that's power-related, like power-related things, or, just like, please play this character more or show your dedication to them, stuff like that. It can even have just 10 steps for it. You can even change it out instead of BP and Rift Fragments. You can make it like a badge or something at step 10. Who knows, maybe these have a badge at step 10, but I doubt they do currently. There's also some base game adjustments that are very, very small. You can if you spam the unhook interaction 3 times, you are forced to unhook that survivor. And if you leave a gen early, the skill check no longer shows up to make you lose random progress, which is really, really nice. Killers can now surrender when the last gen is done, instead of having to wait 10 minutes. So if all 5 gens are complete, the killer can instantly go next. I'm not really sure why you would do that. It seems kind of obnoxious. And then last but not least, for the random changes that don't involve new content, rarities have been changed. I can't really show it that well because I have, as you can see, perk icons. These are custom made by a friend of mine named ThimboBot. Shout out to them. But they changed rarities. There'll be a little infographic on stream for you. But all yellow rarities have become, I believe they were green. All yellow rarities have become green, and green has become blue, which is weird. The only problem with this is that if you're colorblind, I'm sure you're already noticing the problem of that dark blue and purple is already an issue for that. I can show it off with the cosmetics here, where it's like they're very, very similar in terms of color rating, and I'm not sure if that's good. They've also changed charms. They have this ascended rarity instead of like, you know, like event or tier 70 stuff, and then very rare. They change all the backgrounds for this. It looks good, I'm not gonna lie, but the blue and purple might not work out well for colorblind people, and that's the main problem we're going to be having with this change. Otherwise, for the stuff that everyone's actually here for, this is the new survivor, Aurella. They are a transgender black woman. We can see in their lore right here, it says, with Emily, a girl in a restaurant management class who helped her through her transition. Emily was a huge fan of horror movies, blah, 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 blah. They know who Sable is. Things like that. This chapter matters a lot to me, if you know me at all. I am a trans woman, so I'm very excited for this update. She will be my next P100. Her cosmetics actually slap. They're in the PTB, I think mostly so that you can see like the new store changes and things, and also show her off a little bit. She's very, very pretty. I believe she's voiced by Angelica Ross, but that's not actually confirmed yet. That is just stuff that we currently believe because they sound very similar. Of course, if you're not interested in the Survivor, she still has 3 perks for everyone to use. The first one is called Do No Harm. When you heal another Survivor for each hook state they have, heal 50% faster and gain 3% progress for succeeding great skill checks. This perk would stack really, really well with Shoulder the Burden in a team so that everyone has divided hook states instead of one person having 2. It is worse than Botany for most of the trial until the killer starts heavily winning, and then it's better than Botany because you have 100% speed. It's going to be very in-game reliant, and I can see it being very, very fun, but I don't think a lot of people should run this over Botany knowledge. There is also Duty of Care. When you take a protection hit while healthy, all other survivors within 16 meters gain 25% haste for 15 seconds. Now, a lot of people are thinking this with Medal of Man. Swoop in while your teammate's getting tunneled, take a hit, you get a Medal of Man stack, your teammate, boom. Anti-tunnel will not be able to work well when people run this perk. However, there is something that this perk does do. When you unhook a survivor, that counts as a protection hit if you are during the unhooking animation or if you're slightly fast enough. As long as that's like, you're near the unhook, that person who gets off hook is immediately getting a 25% haste bonus. And then the last perk is Rapid Response. When you do a fast locker exit, you suffer from the exhausted status effect for 30 seconds. When you gain exhausted, you see the killer's aura for 2 seconds. Exhausted prevents survivors from activating other perks that cause exhausted. This perk is very situational because obviously you could combine it with Vigil and another exhaustion perk and just like smash it to just try spamming aura reads as fast as possible. But the main thing you're going to want to use this for is when the killers bring exhausted add-ons or perks to cause exhaustion. The problem with that is that that's not guaranteed to happen, and most certain killers don't do that anymore. They used to do it all the time with the old version of Dead Hard, because the old Dead Hard was just that strong. But nowadays they don't do it anymore because the exhaustion perks just aren't worth bringing an entire perk slot to counter, really. So this perk's not going to see much use. And that's basically it. There's not really much to talk about the perks. So you got in-game related, a perk that would be really, really strong if the haste stacking change doesn't go through, but it probably will because for their reasoning is balance decisions. So not really, like, this perk's just 25% haste for 15 seconds. It's good anti-tunnel, probably the strongest one she has. And then rapid response is just very situational. You can combine it with Lucky Star like I was doing for like a fast exit vault and get a ton of buffs. But like in all, there's just not really much to talk about. There's some things they mentioned in the Discord live stream, like the quest system thing. You're looking at the blood points, it's like 10k or like 25 or whatever. These are all placeholders. These could get upped or down. I would hope they get upped or like upped higher, but these are just placeholders for everybody to look at. 10 Eerie shards every so often, which is quite low, but you also get it through the pass. And these are the challenges, which wasn't in the original tome, so like it's kind of neat. But like it's cool. They guarantee that the Rift will have more skins. The Rift is now infinite, which is awesome. If I can, I don't like that I have to exit all the way to the main menu, click on Rift Pass now, but the Rift is now infinite. If we go to the very, very end, you can see that it's just an infinite symbol with 5k BP. I would like if that got upped a little bit, because you were at the end of the Rift, you want to promote it. The Rift's gonna get extended for more cosmetics. It's like, it's a nice quality of life update. There is also on the lobby, it just occurred to me, apologies, where you can now see your perks in the top right. This will most likely come to life for new players to understand when they have perks equipped. And then when I was newly getting Aurella, I already had her, I believe, Duty of Care perk equipped at tier 1. So it's a nice little upgrade for people who just are new to the game and don't know what perks are. I need to work on tutorials that are highly edited for people. There's also a nice little sound or animation plays when you unlock a new perk slot to bring people's attention to it, just so that they actually understand what the perk is. A lot of this update seems to be aimed towards newer players in general, for the item rarities, the unhooking being easier, letting people have pre-equipped perks, things like that. And the reason is because FNAF's coming. I expect the next update to have the most new player friendly stuff ever, besides fixing a tutorial, because the tutorial in DBD is awful and they're not going to change it. But like, you know, these are nice. You know, they're nice changes. They're just, but yeah, this is that's basically it for this video. There's not much to talk about because there's no killer to really talk about for balance changes. The perks are fine, all the buffs are fine, the haste stacking hindered can go through. I don't personally run that, but I can understand people don't want it. It can go either way, in my opinion. I think long term it will have better balancing decisions, but short term it's going to hurt a lot of fun builds that people heavily enjoy. I hope everyone has an excellent day, and I will see you in the next DBD discussion.